Hi, Robin Perry Braun, and I'm going to share just a little bit from my new book, Thrive, Applying Biblical and Quantum Energy Principles to Live a Transformed Life. So in this book, I will be talking a little bit in these short video clips about the principles of quantum physics and then the scriptures that essentially say the same thing. And then also, how do we apply those to our life? I won't go into great depth on the application. You'll need to read the book. I do have some other longer teachings available that will be made available on a streaming wellness channel as well as on YouTube. But today I'm going to talk about the basics of quantum physics and the law of attraction. So I'm going to talk about three simple truths. This is not going to require a degree in physics to understand, and I'm going to make it as simple as possible. So the first truth is that everything is made up of atoms and particles, and all of that is energy. So in essence, and they've known this to be true for decades, this isn't new, and we've learned about it, but what we don't really understand and grasp is that literally 99.99999% of us is made up of energy, and it vibrates. So energy in motion looks like a solid particle. So while I can't put my hand through my arm, which doesn't make sense to me because of the density of the energy, it takes on a physical form. But in essence, everything is energy, everything is atoms. And so the second principle is that all atoms vibrate and have a frequency. And each atom or each structure of atoms has a different frequency or wavelength. So I will explain the definition of frequency, how we interchange it with the word vibration, and what wavelength means. So a wavelength is literally the distance between the peaks of waves. So a short wavelength would mean there's little distance between the peaks, and a long wavelength would mean there's longer distance between the wavelengths. So we would say that something that peaks, that has a short wavelength, is a high frequency. So frequency means the amount of times that wave peaks between point A and point B, and those can be distance or time. So if a wave vibrates, let's say 100 times per second, then we would say that's 100 vibrations per second, or wavelengths, or peaks per second. These aren't the terms we use. I'm just trying to explain it visually. And if it vibrates or it moves at 50 peaks per second, then we would say 50 peaks per second. We use the word hertz and megahertz, but that's essentially what it means, is how many times does it peak in between point A and point B. So a high vibration, 100 would be a higher vibration than 50, or a higher frequency than 50. So vibration would mean how fast it's vibrating. So how many times it peaks is going to vibrate faster. If it peaks less, it vibrates slower. If that makes sense. So when people talk about, oh, that person I had a good vibe, or that person operates at a high vibration or a high frequency, they're the same meaning. They're just a different way to describe that energy in motion, okay? So really, to understand for practical purposes of what we're doing, is wavelengths that vibrate high are going to be positive, and wavelengths that vibrate low or vibrate less are going to be, I'm sorry, let me say that differently. Frequencies that are high vibration are going to be positive. Frequencies that are low vibration are going to be negative, okay? And so we see this with the radio, with the TV, everything. Light spectrum is on a different frequency, and those things are neutral. Mainly, I want to make this reference to things like food. Fresh food, natural food has a higher vibration than dead food, canned food, cooked food, processed food, chemicals food. Processed sugar. A apple vibrates higher, has a higher frequency than a candy bar, okay? Because the white sugar is highly processed and chemicalized, and it's actually toxic to the body. So things that are good for the body will be higher vibrational things or frequency things. Things that are bad for the body will be lower vibrational things. So the third principle, well, and we'll talk more about this throughout the different videos. The third principle is that wavelengths or frequencies attract similar or like wavelengths or frequencies. Like attracts like. So high frequency attracts high frequency, low frequency attracts lower frequency. In my book, I give some science behind that so you can understand. Our body gives off frequencies. It gives off vibrations, and each organ has a different frequency or vibration. Our thoughts give off, send out, project frequencies or vibrations. All the negative emotions we have stored or trapped in our body vibrate, and they send off negative vibrations. When we're joyful, we vibrate differently than when we're in shame. And so all of this is cumulative. It's not just one thing, but my life is accumulation of all of the things that I've stored or trapped that I haven't released or processed. All the toxins I've put in my body have vibrations. All of the life-giving food have good vibrations. All the fungus, bacteria, candida, all the negative life forms in my body that have overtaken my body have a vibration. Okay, so I want you to, research this yourself, but I'm just going to give you, I'm going to just hold this up and explain what you're looking at. These are the water experiments of Dr. Masaru Emoto, and essentially what he did was he took polluted water and he put different intentions or stimuluses to the water. Some of the water he taped words on a piece of paper, so we call that an intention. He thought about whatever it was he was taping on the paper, taped it to the bottle of water or the vial of water. Some of them he played music, and then some of them he showed images of pictures to the vibration. I know that's probably backwards on that camera. But essentially what he found was that when he used positive, life-giving words we would normally think that would make us feel good, words such as angel, peace, spirit, the water would, and then they would freeze the water after the stimulus was attached, and they would look at it under a dark field microscope, which you don't have to squish it between the two slides. And so when he did beautiful words like spirit, angel, peace, we saw these beautiful crystalline, like snowflake patterns. When he had words like you disgust me and you fool, it was a very chaotic and ugly and unattractive pattern. When he used classical music, Amazing Grace, or songs that had really high frequency words, or the song itself had a really good message, then we would see the beautiful snowflake-like patterns. And when he had a picture of a dolphin and a flower, we saw those beautiful patterns. So essentially, he could change the vibration that would change the molecular structure of water based on the stimulus. Now, these experiments have been repeated over and over with consistency. I know some people have actually done these live, and I'll talk about that in another video. But the bottom line is we are made up of 68% water. And so words, thoughts, intentions, images, they all impact us, they affect us, they change the molecular structure of our body. Emotions that are positive, love, joy, peace, build beautiful snowflakes in our body. And emotions like shame, fear, hate, negative emotions, they tear down, they destroy cells. Even the AMA, American Medical Association, will tell you they believe that 80 to 90% of all disease is caused by thoughts and beliefs. So that's essentially the basics of the first chapter of my book, and I would love for you to read it. It's available on Kindle. It's on Amazon, on Kindle or paperback or Audible, and I hope that you will consider buying it and learn from it. It can be life transforming. Thanks. Have a great day.